Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30 p.m. and it's family time.
Good evening and welcome everyone to Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live. This is Family Time. Family Time is about your issues and your relationships. It's about your at-home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please connect with us via all our platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram. Keep up with what's happening at Simply FLMJA. And while Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution that it may, on the odd occasion, touch on what some may consider mature subject matter. So, parents, guardians, caretakers, caregivers, your discretion is advised. I'm Joan Pinkney, and we're opening up an important conversation. What happens after cancer? For many in our communities, the journey doesn't stop after that last hospital visit. Whether you're a survivor, caregiver, or loved one, life after cancer brings new challenges emotional, physical, and even financial. So, our focus today is on the topic life after cancer, survivorship, and long term health. So, as we have the conversation, we'd like to ask you, are we generally prepared for life after cancer? How so? Why not? Send your answers to that question via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes to 876-997-3125. Try to keep your voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds, please. And you can also call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 and 876-968-8328. You can watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 YouTube. Our conversations are about faith, family, and how we live out our beliefs with love. We will be right back. We don't want you to go anywhere because we want you to join in the conversation. It's going to be very, very interesting. We have two lovely guests who will be sharing with us, and we don't want you to miss a minute of it. So don't go anywhere. Promise me that you will stay because we want you to not just listen, but also be involved in the discussion. Remember that question that you should answer. And it says, are you generally prepared for life after cancer? How or why not? Please stay with us. Soon come.
February is the month of love. However, when love turns toxic and spills into the digital space, it can quickly become abuse, harassment, or cyber stalking. On the next Campus Connection, we shine a spotlight on Cyber Love Gone Bad Part 2. Join us as Detective Corporal Andre Murray from the Forensic Services Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, alongside Sherian Grant, UCCF Student Advisor, and Kenneth Roy Clark, UWI UCCF Vice President, unpack how young people can respond when a former partner uses social media, messaging apps, or public forums to intimidate, shame, or damage reputations. And don't miss our honor roll segment with Miss Sandra Rowe, retired educator who served in various capacities for over 37 years at Tatius Golding High School. Campus Connection is proudly brought to you by the Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign, an initiative of the Ministry of National Security and Peace, Jamaica's partner in advancing progress and building peace. Tune in on Tuesday, February 10 at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101, the family station, celebrating 33 years shining the light of Christ to the world.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube and Facebook. And welcome to every single person, whether you're just joining us for the first time. We're so happy that you are with us. And for all our old timers, we say welcome, welcome, welcome. Remember to answer our question. Are we generally prepared for life after cancer? How or why not? WhatsApp, text, and voice notes to 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. And you, sorry, pardon me. And you can also call our studio lines. And those numbers are 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. When someone hears the words, "You are cancer free," it feels like the finish line. But for many survivors and their families, it's usually the beginning of a whole new chapter. This evening, we're talking about life after cancer, the long term effects on the body, the emotional scars that don't always show, the fear of recurrence, and the adjustments that families must make. Hence, our topic: life after cancer, survivorship, and long term health. And here to help us do that is new best friend to FLM or Family Time, Dr. Mia Clark Kutei. I hope I said that well. She's a clinician, inaugural Evelyn Lauder Associate Dean for Nurse Practitioner Programs and professor at the Hunter Bellevue School of Nursing, CUNY, and she'll tell me all of the meaning of all of those things that I'm pointing out. And our other new friend, Dr. Marcy Lee Nielsen, professor at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, and is also a nurse and a researcher. Ladies, welcome.
How are you? Thank you for having us.
It is so good to have you. I trust you're doing well.
Yes, how about yourself?
I am doing well too. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you. Just by looking at the brief profile, sends excitement through me, and I'm like, yes, these are ladies who we know will be able to provide us with some good stuff. So we're looking forward to the discussion. But before we dive into what comes after, let's take a moment to break down what cancer actually is, who is at risk, and what treatment looks like here, particularly in the Caribbean. So here goes. And I'm going to allow you ladies to choose and to respond accordingly. So we hear the word cancer so often, but many people still aren't sure what it really means. Can you explain what's happening in the body when someone has cancer?
You want me to go? You want to go?
You can go, and then I'll add.
Okay. So I think it's a really common question because we know that there are lots of different types of cancer. And so when people talk to each other, they'll say, I had this type and I had that type. And so they want to know kind of how this happens. And our body has lots and lots of cells and lots of parts. And generally, it likes to be very orderly. It likes cells to just kind of be born, they do their job, and then they start to break down. And then the cycle goes back. You get new fresh cells, they do their job, and they go away. And then something happens within this process that kind of changes the process. And so instead of those cells being able to kind of go away, they just kind of start multiplying and growing and growing. And this can lead to, a lump, which people sometimes feel, but then sometimes it can also be throughout the blood, which won't give you a lump like other cancers will. So that's generally how it happens. It's just a normal process, and something has interrupted this normal process, and the cells just don't know what to do, and they just keep multiplying, sometimes quickly, really quickly, and sometimes a little bit slower, but they just don't start to break down.
All right. Thank you so much for that response. Let me run to our other guest and ask, in Jamaica and across the Caribbean, we keep hearing about breast cancer, prostate cancer, and cervical cancer. What are the most common types affecting our people, and how have these patterns changed over time?
So those remain the most common types of cancer. And that happens to Black and brown people across the globe, unfortunately. And those patterns have been stagnant for years. I think those are the most common that I have dealt with, but also for women in particular, say for breast cancer and cervical cancer, they also tend to be more aggressive, meaning they the cells reproduce more quickly, that it tends to be at a later stage and a much more serious stage when it's diagnosed in Black women. The same can be said for prostate cancer. I think that it's an area that we all, as Black and brown folks, really need to make sure that we're doing our routine surveillance, getting those checks, no matter how uncomfortable or no matter how busy we may feel that we are, because they are still very common in our population.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate how you respond and how you respond succinctly. Yeah,
We're trying.
Yeah, oh, it's working. It is working.
We can talk forever.
Yes,
Yes, we can.
No, but talking and giving succinct responses, given the time limit that we have, is appreciated. Now, when we talk about and so when I ask the questions, I'm doing it alternately. So once one speaks, the other no. Oh, it's my time. All right, and I hope we're good with that. Now, when we talk about what increases cancer risk, things like age, family history, diet, and smoking. What are the biggest or the greatest risk factors here at home in Jamaica? Which ones can we usually do something about?
So I think you can't do anything about your age or your gender, but you can, we'd all like to get younger.
Oh, yes.
Or your genes. You can't pick your family.
You can't pick your family.
That's right. That's right.
But the other things that we know that are risk factors are diet, really lots of kind of those foods that are really easy, those fast kind of processed foods, because life is busy. And because life's busy, the lack of physical activity, weight, smoking, heavy alcohol use. And we're seeing a lot more of HPV, so human viruses that can contribute to cancer. So those are some of the main ones that we know kind of drive and can change. We can change them that cause cancer.
All right. Okay. But let's talk a little bit about treatment. Thank you so much for that response. Treatment. Once someone is diagnosed, what does the journey usually look like, from surgery to chemo to radiation or medication? And how long does all of this last?
So that can be that's variable depending on what you're diagnosed with.
Okay.
And how severe the disease is that you're diagnosed. And so
All right,
it can vary.
I'm going to ask you to pause and hold that. We're going to go to the break. We have to take the break, and we'll be right back. So hold the thought. I don't want you to forget it. But remember, listeners, that we want to hear from you. Are we generally prepared for life after cancer? How so? Please send your voice messages, your text messages. We want to hear from you. We're going to take a break. We will be right back.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 5:45.
Persons with disabilities and their caregivers. Register on I Am Able, My JCPD, the official digital platform of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Created in partnership with UNICEF, the online platform makes it easy for you to connect to information, programs, and support. Sign up today at jcpd.gov.jm/IamAble or call the JCPD help desk at 876-447-0444 for assistance. The Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, educating, advocating, empowering.
Hurricane Melissa may be over, but the emotional impact can linger. It's normal to feel anxious, sad, or overwhelmed. Talk about your feelings. Stay connected with family and friends and reach out for help if you need it. Call the Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Helpline at 888 New Life. That's 888-639-5433. You can also access the You Matter chat line by messaging the word support to 876-838-4897 or at You Report Jamaica. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back to Family Time. We're so happy that you have remained with us, and we want to welcome those who are joining us for the first time this evening. Have you responded yet to the question that we're asking? If you haven't, please. The question is, are we generally prepared for life after cancer? How or why not? Give us a call, send us a text message or a voice message. Leave your responses there so that we can read them. And if you have a question, please feel free to field them as well. But before we took the break, we were speaking with, it was Dr. Mayo, right? Dr. Mayo?
That's correct.
Right. So sharing with us about the treatment. So continue, please.
Yes, and Marcy, chime in whenever you want. It's very much about the disease process, so how aggressive it is and how fast it's growing that determines what type of treatment that you undergo, but also what works best for the individual and their family. So if you decided to do surgery, for example, and you were very blessed and fortunate that you only needed surgery, maybe your recovery is 6 weeks. If you decide to do radiation, radiation is usually every day, 5 days a week for a certain amount of time, which gets determined by a radiation oncologist and typically is months plus recovery. And similar for chemotherapy, which is determined by a medical oncologist to decide how long you need for the type of treatment. But I would say generally treatment is anywhere across all of those options, somewhere between 6 weeks at the shortest to years at the longest.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. We have a comment from Rosie, and she says, we don't normally like change because your diet might need to change. Each time you go for a checkup, you will be holding your breath, meaning that you don't want to change. So you're hoping that you're told that it's okay to continue to eat all the things that you want to eat. And that's, any comments on that? Because that may be very much part of the problem. Yeah. Can you comment on that?
I think you want to eat the things that you love. So I think you try to find balance and what makes you happy, and maybe try to like do one thing at a time so it doesn't seem really overwhelming. Right. So if it's getting more fresh fruits and vegetables, like add one a day, try to get one every day. And so kind of take it in small bits and not just go like, oh, I'm going to get rid of my hamburger and going straight to salads every day.
Yeah. All right. And the last question I want to ask in terms of how we treat with cancer and respond to it. Before we move into life after cancer, why is it so important for us to pay attention to what survivors experience long after their last dose of treatment?
I think most times when people are done, they want to get back to their everyday life. And sometimes their treatment has made that difficult. And so it's really important to hear them, because are you really prepared for something you've never gone through? It's really hard to know what's normal and not normal. And so that's why we really need to ask, and we really need to listen, and kind of make sure that you feel comfortable sharing, because that's the only way we can really help guide as providers, to get you as back to, what you were doing before cancer as possible.
Yes.
Also, I think the risk of recurrence is never zero. So it could come back. We hope and pray it does not come back. But a lot of times the way that we're cued in is, are you following up in your survivorship clinic? Are you getting the labs that you need? Does your body feel different? Is your pain getting better? Is your pain staying the same? Do you have new pain? All those things could be clues to us needing to do something. It may not be cancer related or recurrence, but it is a cue that we need to follow up.
Absolutely. That's very important. Thank you for that. We have another comment from Roger, and he says, folks too busy paying bills and being stressed to even care for starters. How do you respond to that? Do you find that persons are usually not very attentive toward their health, and then when it happens, that they may have seen the signs, but they push it aside because of the other things that seem to matter? Well, what say you?
I would definitely say this is common, that not just with cancer, right?
Yes.
Like your blood pressure, your diabetes, your weight, your whatever, all of us have things, and the things can often make us feel overwhelmed or prevent us from taking care of ourselves. But I urge folks to take a couple minutes. Like Marcy said, you don't have to do it all at once. Maybe it just means today you're going to schedule the appointment. Maybe tomorrow you make sure that you make a list of questions you might have. Maybe the next day you keep tabs on how much medication, little bits at a time to not add to your burden or your stress.
Absolutely. So the treatment is over, but the journey isn't. And so a good question to ask is, and many people expect survivors to just bounce back, but the reality is often different. What are some of the challenges people face right after finishing cancer treatment? And we'll go to Dr. Marcy.
So I think sometimes when people, they ring a bell, they have their last appointment, it feels like they're done, but their body has really spent the last, 6-7 weeks, months, almost running a marathon. And so your body is just really tired.
Yeah.
And a lot of these treatments work after you've rung that bell. They work for weeks after. And so I think it's important to, one, realize that it does take time after treatment's done to really, you just don't automatically bounce back. It can be a very slow process. And that's not unnormal.
Right. So where the family members may expect that things will just return to normal and everything will be everything, as we say in Jamaican parlance, it will not necessarily happen that way. It still will take a time for the person to bounce back and perhaps never really get back to where they were before the diagnosis.
It's very true.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. That fear that the cancer might come back is really real, though. And so how does that emotional weight affect someone's daily life and mental health after treatment ends? Because you're always wondering, you're always thinking, well, certainly the person that I have interacted with, and there's always that little thing that says, I wonder if it will come back and how aggressive it will be when it does. Is that reasonable to have that fear?
Absolutely. and Marcy can attest to this. So I do a lot of cancer survivorship with prostate cancer and breast cancer. Marcy does a lot of head and neck cancer. For prostate cancer patients, every few months to a year, they have to get a blood test, and that blood test really evokes a lot of anxiety. For breast
Yes.
cancer patients,
Yes.
it's less of
Yes.
a blood test and more of a scan. That
Mm.
scan evokes, a lot of anxiety. I think those responses are reasonable within the time frame that you're going through the test. What we don't want to see happen is that anxiety or that concern overwhelm you day to day, because that
Yes.
also impacts how you
Absolutely.
recover and how well you do. And so it is a conversation we have with everyone. We do try to have support groups. Marcy runs a support group. So we try to make that an everyday thing, to normalize that part of the experience, because it's very real and it's absolutely reasonable.
Yes, and so what we may find, or certainly what research shows based on what we've come to know, is that survivorship isn't just about health. It's about rebuilding your life. It's about trying to rebuild relationships as best as possible, roles at home, even parenting, even being a wife or a husband. Sometimes some of the things that you used to do. So what you're actually doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're creating a new normal, because some of the things you won't be able to do. So what can family, friends, and even co-workers do to support someone who is done with cancer, and done in parentheses, because sometimes we're not sure, still being there while they're going through the healing process? How can they respond to give support as friends and family and so on? And Dr. Mayer can answer that one.
So I think one of the most important things is for friends and family to just listen and to be attentive. Not everyone is going to ask for help the same.
Right.
Or reach out the same. So sometimes it may be that you're offering instead of asking, and sometimes it may be that you're just sitting there and listening and offering support. And so really being in tune to the individual that's going through it, so you can offer the support that is needed in that time in the way that they can receive it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I
This
add?
is family time. Go right ahead. Go right. Yes, hold it. Let me just go through with this, and then if we have time, then we can catch that up. But thank you so much for the energy that I'm sensing. I love it. I really do love it. This is Family Time, live on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. It is produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to tell us what you think. Are we generally prepared for life after cancer? How or why not? Let us know via WhatsApp text and voice notes at 876-997-3125. Try to keep your voice notes no longer than 30 seconds. And you may call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 968-8328. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 YouTube. We really want to hear from you, so please don't go away. So we have a minute before the break, so go right ahead and make that additional comment.
So I was just going to say, sometimes I think it's really easy for us to forget about the caregiver and the family member that is taking care of the person with cancer. And so I think it's also important. A lot of times roles are reversed. Maybe you're doing all the things that you've never had to do before. And so that does take an emotional toll. So I think it's important to also kind of feed that person and make sure that person is seen and heard, so that they can also continue to do the best that they can for their loved one. But it's just a challenge. I always tell people that you're going through this together. You're just experiencing it differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have a comment, and it says, that's an interesting question. Personally, I never considered that situation, because just the word cancer sounds like death is sure. So thinking or preparing for life after cancer, even though desired and prayed for, one is not usually prepare for it. Let's take a break. Please don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, what we feel safe and now. Jamaica live good. Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
6 o'clock.
You can see the face, but not the heart. Those who want to do you wrong. So many times.
Bless up. This is Christopher Martin. Human trafficking is a crime. Let's unite to end human trafficking. Be wise, open your eyes. Spot them, stop them, and report them.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
No shadow at the dark. No shadow at the dark.
Welcome back to Family Time. You're tuned to Love 101, and this is Family Time. Family Time is brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Family Life Ministries provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. We're going to go now. It's now 6:01, and we're going to go now to Reverend Mike in this special live episode of WTF Word to Flesh Moments. Go ahead, Reverend Mike.
In Jeremiah 17, the writer cries out to God, "Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved." Are you one who has received healing from God? If so, here are some Bible tips on maintaining a healed life. Number 1, total joy and reliance on God. Life after healing should involve maintaining a consistent, joyful daily walk with God. After all, aren't you thankful? It seems that God has even designed joy and happiness as tools to maintain our health. Proverbs 17 says, "A merry heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones." Number 2, total avoidance of whatever made you ill. Proverbs 3 says, "Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones." The Bible suggests wisdom and obedience even in what we eat. Many of the foods that God suggests we should avoid or we should eat, nutritional science has proven that it's good for our health. Are you being wise and obedient? Number 3, total attention to living a life of purpose. You have been given a second chance at life. Don't waste it. If you don't know what your unique purpose in life happens to be, focus on living a life, loving God, loving others, and loving your own self. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Always has some sound, solid word. We really do appreciate that, and in keeping with our discussions this evening. Now let's talk about inside-out healing, nutrition, emotions, and those side effects that don't go away overnight. Listeners, I'm sure those of you have been on, but those of you are just coming on, we are privileged to have two wonderful ladies who have been sharing with us in the discussion that we're having this evening. Dr. Maya Clark Kataya, clinician inaugural, Evelyn Lauder Associate, Dean of Nurse Practitioner Programs, and Professor at Hunter Bellevue School of Nursing, and Dr. Marcy Lee Nielsen, professor at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, and is also a nurse and a researcher. They have been filling our minds, answering our questions, and really giving us some good insight into the discussion that we've been having this evening. And so we say again, ladies, we so appreciate your presence, and we want to jump right into healing the whole body, the food, the feelings, the fatigue, all of that. We want to respond to that. We did have a comment. I'm not sure whether you that I read just before the break. I'm not sure whether you have a comment. He really was just saying that you never really think about life after cancer, because once you hear cancer, you think death. So life after cancer, alive for him, is really a non consideration, because you really don't go beyond that, because once you're diagnosed, you will begin to say your prayers, basically. Any comments in that regard? Dr. Marcy?
So I think the cancer that I primarily deal with, we're doing a really better job of curing it. And so I think with all the advances that we have, we do a better job. So it's not always the end or the last chapter of your story.
Right.
There's usually a life after, and most people are going to spend more of that time as survivors now because of all these things that have changed and the improvements that we have.
Right. Great.
I would agree.
Yes.
I think that, as a matter of fact, I was just talking to a dear friend who happens to be a Black woman who was diagnosed with pretty aggressive breast cancer, and had a mastectomy, had radiation, has now had a recurrence several years later, just had her first scan after going through chemo, and her scan is much better than it was before. So I think in our minds, we have the TV view of what cancer looks like and what cancer treatments look like: vomiting, feeling very ill, not being able to engage, that's no longer the way it always is. In fact, a lot of people still work and take care of families and live, for years afterwards. So
yes,
I understand 100% why people feel that way, though.
Right. Can appreciate that. Thank you for that clarification. Cancer-related fatigue can last months or years. It's more than just being tired. Can you explain what causes it and how people can manage it today or from day to day? Doctor.
Go ahead, Marcy.
Go ahead, Dr. Marcy.
So I think some of it is, especially after treatment, it's not unusual. So it's just 6 months of treatment. But if you keep going into survivorship and you still have this fatigue, I think it's important to kind of figure out why. So sometimes it can be just your body. You kind of lost weight, you lost some muscle mass, you haven't moved a lot. So you kind of have to slowly start to eat more, eat better, move a little bit. But it can also be different things like hormones and different types of anemia. Your red blood cells are too low. So sometimes you need to try both things. Make sure you're getting your blood work done, being open with your provider, and then also doing the other things like trying to move a little bit more. Like even a couple steps additional a day is a couple steps additional a day that you didn't do the day before. And that we know at work moving can help.
Yes. In addition to that, thank you for that. In addition to that, taste may change, appetite may be low. And we just want to know, how does a survivor regain his or her relationship with food and begin to nourish the body and even eating? Because sometimes it seems hard, like almost like a chore. That can go to Dr. Mayer.
I say, I always tell my patients, in the short term, treat it like a medicine.
Okay.
It's not a choice, it's a need. Your body has to recover.
Yes.
And there are many ways to get that nourishment in. So maybe you don't feel like eating a burger and fries. Perhaps you have a shake.
Right.
Perhaps, it's a smoothie. I don't know, whatever you have an appetite for. Also, you don't have to eat a full meal.
Right.
If you graze all day, you graze all day.
Yeah.
It's not how you get it in necessarily. It's really about getting the nourishment in when you can get it in. And so if you have an appetite for something, even if it's typically on your do not eat list, this is the time where you give yourself permission
Yes,
to
yes.
eat the things that you wouldn't usually eat, because
Right.
the importance is to get that fuel in. So allowing yourself some grace, to work within a new model of eating, which is not 3 large meals a day. Maybe you're eating
Yes.
6 to 8 small meals a
Right.
day.
Right.
Maybe you're drinking it. Maybe you're having broth instead of water, for example, so
Right.
that you make sure you get salt and potassium and things in your system. So just becoming very creative.
Yes, yes. And as we said earlier, is understanding that you're really creating a new normal. You're literally reorienting yourself into this new phase of life, which should be filled with gratitude and thanksgiving, but also the reality of knowing that it is a new normal and you have to adjust. So we talk scars and hair loss and weight changes. How can cancer survivors deal with that the body image issues, and rebuild their confidence? Because that can be a major thing, particularly for ladies. Yeah, Doctor, who's gonna take that one?
Marcy, you want to start and I'll chime in?
I would say I don't really deal with ladies very often.
I do.
My cancer is mostly men, so they do come
That's
out.
all right. That's all right. It's
half
okay.
a beard. So
we
that
do
they
have quite a few men listening, so we want them to hear. Yes,
Yeah.
so go right ahead.
I think sometimes, we have a lot of guys that lose their beards, and that's something very important for them. And
Yes.
so trying to talk to them early to know that, this might not come back, or your face may look different. And I think it can be very socially isolating. And so for guys, I think, having even friends, kind of friends and support, and kind of getting them out, and kind of getting them back into some activities, and whatever that is. It can be very, very mild, like start slow and work your way up. And I think sometimes we try to reassure patients that they look great, they're doing great.
Yes.
But, they're looking at themselves. So also recognizing that it is hard to look at yourself and not kind of feel like yourself.
We have, I care a lot of breast cancer patients who have breast reconstruction. So they have new breasts built. And sometimes it's important.
That helps with the self-esteem.
It does. It absolutely does. And I think that some of the things that are really important is having the conversation about what that's going to look like, where are the scars going to be.
Yes.
They can't really rebuild you a nipple. So if that is important to you, is there other things that we can do? I've had patients have nipples tattooed on their breasts so they look more real.
Yeah.
I've had patients not have their breasts reconstructed and just put tattoos across their full chest because they're proud of it.
Yes.
We've talked about having prosthesis. So maybe you're putting something into your bra to make you feel more like a woman, and then having a conversation with partners about what that means for, like Marcy said, it's not okay for you to just say, you look great.
Yes.
Because they may not feel that way. So really being honest and open and keeping the conversation going, because there are a lot of body parts that we put a lot of emphasis on, like hair.
Yes, especially us ladies.
Yes, one's hair really is huge to our identity. And so trying to come up with different ways to make people feel like themselves despite those changes.
Oh, wow. Ladies, thank you so much for unpacking as you have been. Really appreciate the realness, the honesty, and just sharing as you have been sharing very candidly. We're heading to our final break, unfortunately, because we wish that we could go on and on and on. You have been so engaging. We so appreciate all that you have shared. But let me just remind our listeners that this is Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. Our feedback question is, are you generally prepared for life after cancer? We have had some responses and we so appreciate it, and we look forward to some other responses. Send your stories or your responses via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes to 876 760-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to a low of 30 seconds. Call our studio lines as an alternate way to communicate to us at 876-968-8327 and 876-968-8328. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 YouTube. We want to hear from you. We're going to take a break now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 6:15.
Clean hands are good for your health. In the wake of Hurricane Melissa, protecting your health includes a simple act: washing your hands. Use soap and safe water to remove dirt and germs after cleaning, before eating, and after using the toilet. If clean water is limited, use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Remember, clean hands stop the spread of disease and help to keep families safe. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back to Family Time. You're tuned to Love 101 FM. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Family Life Ministries provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune in to the program via Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome back to our discussion on life after cancer, survivorship, and long-term health. We have been talking with two lovely, lovely ladies, and they have really been real. We do appreciate that. And so it's good to talk to them. Absolutely. I feel very honored and privileged to be hosting this program this evening. So let's close with some of the things that are often left behind: the financial strain, the inequalities in care, and what it takes to truly move forward. Before we dive in though, let's just read another comment. And Marie from Yonkers, New York, she says, "Good evening, Dr. Pinkney, to you and your panel and all the listeners. Very interesting topic. Thank you, ma'am. I'm happy that you're listening to us all the way in cold New York." In Jamaica, a little chilly, but we are good. And I suspect that you ladies are also in the cold. We continue to pray for you, and we
thank you.
We need it. It just keeps going.
but it really is that some of these things, the financial strain, the inequalities in care, sometimes we don't get into those conversations. And so we want to talk about the cost of cancer, paying the price, and moving forward as we close this evening's discussions. Cancer is expensive, and the bills don't stop when treatment ends, of course. What are some of the hidden costs which survivors face, and how does that financial stress affect recovery? We're going to ask Sister Marcy, Dr. Marcy.
So I think the term that we use now is this financial toxicity. And I think we talked about how treatment looks a lot different now. So sometimes these long-term meds and these newer medications, they come a lot of out-of-pocket costs, but also some of the things that you need to really recover, like the physical therapy might be hard to get to, the specialized swallowing therapy, and even just being able to go back to work at the level you worked before can be really difficult. And I think especially you can try to find online resources. There's a lot of really nice websites geared towards patients and caregivers to kind of help kind of see what you need to do to recover after. Are there resources available to really help some financially? Because most people they're not prepared for cancer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the cost, as you mentioned, the stress can be very, very high and very real. And so persons in, say, rural areas, in the Caribbean, in Jamaica in particular, who are really struggling, and financially, they may feel that bias is being thrown at them. And how well can they recover? What the possibility of them recovering? The fact that money is scarce. Do we have a lot of resources available generally? Are you aware of resources available to help persons in this regard, with medication and follow-up treatment and so on in the Caribbean? We suspect it may be quite in the States, but what about us over here in this side of the world? Are you aware of any information in that regard?
There are a lot of cancer organizations and sort of grassroots community organizations that offer support, that you can reach out to, and they'll supply, sometimes funds, medication, transportation. They can sometimes even get community health workers to come help. I would also say look for mobile clinics or pop-ups where providers are coming from larger communities into the rural areas to offer some help, support groups, things like that. I do think that there are more resources in the rural areas now than there ever were.
Okay.
And you may feel physically isolated, but there's so many ways for folks to reach you, particularly in the time of telehealth and mobile vans and things like that, where we can bring the care to you. So if you're in need, I absolutely suggest reaching out, so that those resources can be made available to you, but they definitely exist.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Um, and we're talking about persons helping themselves as well, because yes, you may go to therapy, you may get that kind of help, but mentally you need to engage in things like walking and maybe journaling, that can help emotionally as you seek to cope, as you seek to get into your new normal. But how do you think that one's faith, community groups, and just being a good friend, how important is that for persons who are seeking to recover, or in that recovery phase?
I would say tremendously important.
Yes.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes people worry that if they kind of air how they're still feeling, that it may be viewed as kind of challenging their faith, that they don't have enough belief or enough faith. And I think it's a balance. I think you can have faith and still believe that things, but you should also need to be honest so people can help you.
Right.
So it's balancing that. Saying you don't feel well is not that you don't have faith. It's kind of balancing the two. You do have faith, but you still don't feel well.
Right. And that people and resources are put in your path for a reason. And if you don't use the gifts that you're given, the resources that you're given, that too can create a problem. So absolutely relying on those resources. And I'd say that there are a lot of things, like you were saying, Dr. Pickney, like yoga, prayer, meditation, maybe you're journaling, maybe you're drawing pictures, knitting, but taking those moments to be present.
Yes.
Those moments also count to let your body to recover and have a moment of rest and a moment of peace. Those little moments all add up over time. And so making sure that you allow yourself that opportunity and that grace too.
Thank you, ladies. Wow, you have been fabulous. I want you each to take a minute. We are heading to the final stages of the program. But what message would you give to the survivor listening right now, who may feel overwhelmed or alone, but still hoping for strength, peace, and healing? And I'm going to ask each of you to just take a minute and share that minute, and just let us know what would you say to that person or those persons who are listening. Want to go first? Dr. Marcy?
Marcia, do you want to go first?
Yes. I think Dr. Clark-Attai said it well. I think sometimes you have to give yourself grace and know that it takes time to get back, and it's time for you, it's time for your caregiver, it's time for your family. And sometimes it may not be something that comes easy, but you sometimes have to rely on others and talk to others and be open with them. But you should give yourself grace. Are you really ready for something you've never experienced? Probably not. But
Yes.
being honest, using your resources, using your faith, using your community, and helping, letting them help you. So giving
Yes.
yourself grace and letting those others help you can really help you get through.
Absolutely. Dr. Mayo?
I would build on that and say that each experience is different. So whatever you're feeling is real and it makes sense.
Yes.
And you don't have to do it by yourself. So, sometimes it's going to feel super heavy and you are going to have to maintain your hope, which is also a tall order. But I would say, take every day, every moment, one step at a time. If you need to breathe or get whatever, just really take one step at a time. Call someone, text someone, ask for help with the practical things.
Yes.
And know that you really do deserve help in your whole life. So if
Absolutely.
you need someone, even the small things, help,
Yes.
walk your dog, wash your laundry, cook a
Yes.
meal, like
Yes.
all
Yes.
those things count. And since
Yes.
healing, like we talked about, can be from weeks to years, it's not fast, it's not easy, but it does happen. Just keep your head up, keep moving, and let people support you through it.
Thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate your sharing, your candidness, clearly your experience. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And we really feel very privileged. And we thank you so much for being here. We want to thank everyone for being with us this evening. And we hope today's conversation helps in shaping you and your homes. If you have questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, we implore you to make contact with us. For more information on our services or for our counselors at Family Life Ministries in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our office at 876 920 1034 or 876 926 8101. The other numbers that you may reach us on are 876 579 8690 and 876 279 8678. The last two numbers, of course, are WhatsApp enabled. Note that for appointments and information on costs, you must call our offices at Family, which is Family Life Ministries, and we just gave those numbers. Otherwise, to keep up with what's happening with Family Life Ministries and our programs, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram at simply FLMJA. We want to really express our sincere thanks to these two lovely ladies who have come on and who have shared with us, Dr. Maya, Dr. Mercy, and have shared so ably with us. We thank you so much for being with us this evening. We want to express thanks to, let me say their names, Dr. Maya Clark Kutaya and Dr. Marcy Lee Nilsson. We want to also say thanks to our producer, who is the one that puts in all the work. I was almost going to say Dr. Kathy Gale, but maybe in her
she can be a doctor too.
Yes. Rashid Mercy for research and research assistance, and Devil Graham, the pilot in studio through this hour. And we, of course, are so happy that the listeners have not just tuned in, but they have participated in our conversation. We really do appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with a passage of scripture that you can focus on, that you can reflect on. And it's from 3 John 1 and 2. And it says, "Behold, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers." Ladies, thank you again. It was a pleasure being here this evening with all the listeners. We look forward to another program next week when we will share on another very interesting topic. We trust Dr. Kathy to take us through the various things that comes to mind. We do appreciate the work that she puts into it, and we don't want it to go unnoticed. So thanks again for being with me. I'm Joan Pinkney, and it was my pleasure being here. God bless you, and have a blessed rest of the week.